Hi there, I'm Angie Zimmerman, the Flower Diva, and today I'm going to show you how to make this centerpiece. It's for a summer wedding using reds, oranges, and yellows, and the roses and dahlias are from Pacific Callas. So I'm going to move this out of the way and show you step by step how I put this together. So I started off with a 9-inch loamy dish. This is clear, and I used half a block of floral foam. I've already trimmed it. I like to trim my edges, and I used the clear bowl tape this time, bowl, B-O-W-L, to hold my floral foam in place. And I did that because half of these centerpieces are going to sit on the tables, and half are going to be elevated on 24-inch tall glass cylinder vases. So because these are going to be elevated, I didn't want you to see green tape, which is the other color that this bowl tape comes in. This is stronger, and it is my first choice normally. But again, because this is going to be elevated and on a clear glass vase, I chose to use the clear. I have in this vase a liquid that's called a hydrating solution. It's a particular brand that I like to use, but it comes in various brands, or you could buy it from various companies. The key is it's called hydrating solution, and that's really important for helping the flowers get a good strong drink of water. I always start off having a recipe in mind, in other words, how many stems of everything that I'm going to use, and that's how I place my order. I figure out what it needs to be for one centerpiece, and then I multiply it by the number of centerpieces that I'm going to make, and then I divide it by the number of flowers in a bunch, and then I know how to order my flowers. So for this particular centerpiece, I allocated 7 stems of lemon leaf, which is a greenery, and 5 stems of leather leaf. So lemon leaf, leather leaf. This lemon is technically called salal, S-A-L-A-L, but everybody in the business calls it lemon. And I'm pretty sure it's because the leaves resemble what a lemon leaf would look like from a lemon plant. I have my clippers. I've got a towel for cleaning up my messes. I also like to have handy my florist knife. I may or may not use it. I typically use the clippers. I think it's just easier and faster and safer, especially for you as a novice. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting off pieces and creating the shape. These are going to be round. So, and if you have greenery that doesn't look good, you can always, cut off the piece that doesn't look good or not use it. This one's kind of eaten up. I actually have plenty, so I'm not going to use this, but there are some people who would like you to use this because this is natural in the way that it came. I can tell you that I remember looking at a piece of artwork from a very long time ago, and if you looked very closely, you could see it was a floral design in the artwork, that there were bite holes in it just like this. So bugs had eaten the leaves, and the artist went ahead and included that in the painting, which I always thought was kind of funny. But some people would like that. So you want to make sure that as you're inserting this, that the stem that you're inserting is clean, meaning there's no little leaves on it. This, you kind of follow the same rule of thumb when you're using Oasis or floral foam as you do with your greenery and you're cleaning your stems of your flowers. Anything that is going to fall below the water line you typically remove. Well, anything that's going to get inserted into the floral foam you also remove. All right, these are a couple of really big leaves. I'm just going to put them right there. So again, this is nature, so the leaves are all different sizes and shapes. They're not uniform. You never know what you're going to get. So I always order extra just to make sure that I have enough of everything. And even at that, there are times when I still don't have enough. And I'm actually running into one of those situations today where I thought I ordered plenty of flowers and I'm already out and I only have half of my centerpieces done. So I will be looking for some more flowers later today. So I'm now just adding greenery in different places. I'm trying to give this some height and some dimension, as well as what we call covering our mechanics. So in this case, the mechanics are the floral foam and the tape, which you can't see because it's clear. But if I had used that green tape, it would be really important for you to try and cover up wherever you could see that tape. Well, the bugs seem to have gone crazy with this bunch of lemon. Okay, and so after I have that one layer of greenery, all the lemon in here, then I'm going to go over and use my leather leaf. And again, if you have little broken pieces like this, just tear them off. You don't want to use it like that. That doesn't look good. And I like to turn it over and cut from behind because I could see better where my cut points are. So I'm going to cut here and here. And this one's broken, so I'm going to cut that off. And then I typically use these bigger pieces with the points to angle around the base and cover up my mechanics again. And same kind of rules. You want to make sure that whatever you're inserting into the floral foam does not have any greenery on it. In other words, a clean stem. And these are really long, so I think I'll be able to use those a little differently. And now I'm going to start moving and putting some of this leather leaf in different places. I did my base, got it all the way around, and now I'm just interspersing it. And I love using these little pieces for texture and variety. They're actually great. If you were doing something smaller, you could cut these off individually as well. But since this is a fairly large arrangement, I can use those bigger pieces. Again, I see little broken pieces, so I just pull those off. And you do typically do, this is called greening. You typically do your greening before you add your flowers. And I don't think I need this last piece of leather because you want to leave some room for your flowers. So if I need to, I can come back and add that in. But for now, I'm going to just put it over to the side and start looking at which flowers I'm going to add. I do have another flower that I intended to use more like greenery. It's called Status, and it's considered a filler flower. I ordered it in yellow, and then I used a little bit of spray paint, a terracotta spray paint, and kind of just lightly dusted it. So some pieces are yellow and some pieces have some of the terracotta on them, which makes them look a little bit more orange, which again goes with the theme of this particular party. And I'm going to place this all the way around, kind of following the same pattern that I did with the greenery. So I always go around the base first and then I start filling in on top. It's important to give your designs some dimension. You don't want them just flat. And so to do that is why I'm angling my flowers and my greenery at different levels. And I'm cleaning off. This Status has got kind of a thick skin around the stem. So I'm cleaning that off because, again, that's like greenery inserted into the floral foam. And it'll just cause that flower and then the rest of the design to decay quicker than it should. This was half a bunch, and in this case that meant 5 stems. This seems to be a flower or filler, greenery, whatever you want to call this, that varies in its stem count. I thought these were very small bunches, 10 stems. I can swear when I've ordered this before that they were much bigger bunches, but this is also not something that I order very often. This is really not my style of centerpiece. I prefer to use a lot more flowers and a lot less greenery. In fact, it's really nice when you don't use any greenery. But it also costs more money to do that. And because I'm using this as greenery, I am putting it in now. Normally you would use your filler and put that in at the very end, but I'm not using it as filler, I'm using it more like greenery. Another way that you can clean these stems is if you have a little knife, you can just sort of scrape off that extra greenery. That's kind of like a skin. I always keep turning these because you want to make sure that everything's evenly dispersed, and if you don't keep turning it, you don't really know what's on the other side because you can't see it. Okay. Okay, the next flower that I'm going to use will be the lilies, and I'm going to do that because it's pretty much what you would call a focal flower. It's the biggest flower that's going to draw your attention into this centerpiece. And I have allocated in my recipe 6 stems. And I'm going to start off with this on top. I'm going to put one more over here. And now I'm going to go and fill in around the sides. This particular lily is called Royal Sunset, and it's called an LA lily. And unfortunately, they damage very easily. So this particular petal's damaged, and I'm going to pull that off. And I think that that still looks okay to use, but you know, I have plenty of these, so I don't have to. So my point is, if this happens to you and it doesn't look good, or if it's gotten really bruised, just cut it off and keep moving. This bud right here is going to open before this particular wedding. This will open overnight. So, okay, let's see. So this one's got 2 flowers, so that's going to fill up a lot of space. I like that. I'm going to spin it. It looks like I have a spot right there for this last stem. Okay, so now I'm going to start adding in my roses. And I have yellow roses, a rose that's called Leonidas, which is this combination terracotta and butterscotch color. And then I have some red dahlias. Again, I'm going to kind of follow the same pattern that I've already started. I'm going to put some out here on the outside, kind of framing it around the center. I don't know if that made sense. I'm framing it around the shape of the design. So I'm following that round shape. And you do want to be careful that you don't crush your lilies when you're inserting your other flowers. I just came very close to doing that. I've got a flower here that's got a torn petal, so I just pulled that off. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in my yellow. Again, following the same shape. I keep reaching in here because I'm kind of holding on to my floral foam. Even though I have it taped into place, it has a tendency to slide around. So you want to be careful when you're inserting your stems that you don't break that tape and let that floral foam loose, because then you're going to have trouble when you start to deliver these. They will definitely fall out. The floral foam and all the flowers will fall out. I am deleting or eliminating, pulling off some of the extra petals that are on these roses. When we processed them, we, didn't know how far down they were going to go, so we left a little more greenery on than needed for these centerpieces. So I'm trying to kind of evenly disperse my color. And now I'm going to add in my dahlias. I like to use the buds. You don't have to, but I think that they add a nice quality to the arrangement. It's a different texture. And I don't need these smaller buds. I know when I processed them, I wasn't sure where I'd use these and how I'd use them, so I didn't take them off. I just took one of them off. I'm going to try using this one with that other bud on it. It may or may not look good, and I may decide to pull it. So I'm kind of trying to wiggle my stem in here and find the floral foam. And I seem to be going through a petal, a leaf. Okay. it looks like I need a little bit of red on this side. And then we're done. So how fast was that? All right, so here's our completed centerpiece. I used 6 stems of lilies, 6 yellow roses, 5 of the Leonidas roses, 5 stems of the statice, 7 stems of lemon leaf, and I allocated 5 stems of leather, but I only used 4. So there's your completed centerpiece. Now I would recommend giving this a spray with either water or a finishing spray if you have it, and then putting it in refrigeration until you're ready to use it. Enjoy!